A vice overnight, President Kamala Harris was dealt a devastating loss when the Democrats decided to cancel their victory party, which resulted in the return of her aides and supporters to their homes. In the early hours of the election, Donald Trump declared victory with a landslide majority in the Electoral College. He defeated 3 crucial swing states and won the election. While Trump's motorcade was on its way down to Palm Beach Convention Center for a triumphal address, Harris's team quickly announced that she would not be coming out to talk to fans. This announcement came just as Trump's motorcade was winding its way down. In the early hours following the transition from blue to red in North Carolina, pictures were taken of supporters who appeared to be feeling downcast. The mood became even more gloomy due to the fact that Georgia was called in his favor. A number of individuals sat down, some leaned on the railings, and a great number of them clutched their heads in their hands before giving up and returning home. A short time after the Republican nominee won Pennsylvania, which virtually put an end to Harris's aspirations of becoming president, the Republican nominee won Pennsylvania. Prior to 6 o'clock Eastern Time, somber photographs depicted the previously lively environment that had transformed into a deserted ghost town, with trash strewn across the ground and American flags that had been thrown. To give the impression that they had accepted defeat, a large number of dissatisfied Democrats had left the Watch Party grounds at Howard University in Washington, District of Columbia. The press spokeswoman for Harris reportedly instructed her team to refrain from speaking to the media as her poll ratings continued to decline across the country, as reported by Fox News. During the party, the campaign headquarters even turned off their live CNN broadcast, according to the Associated Press. A defeated Harris went into hiding, most likely at the vice president's residence, which she will call home for only a few more weeks, and neither she nor anyone else has been seen or heard from since then. The place that Harris had chosen for what she hoped would be a victory celebration was Howard University, which she had attended back in her college days. It was symbolic as an Ivy League college that was known for educating African Americans over the course of several generations, similar to the scenario in which Hillary Clinton's chamber was topped with a glass ceiling in 2016. "Oh Happy Day" was sung by the gospel choir of the university early in the evening, and a large number of students and faculty members got together to hear the results, dancing, singing, and celebrating. In the morning, Harris's camp continued to demand that the ballots still needed to be counted in their entirety, despite the fact that she had refused to concede. It was Jen O'Malley Dillon, the campaign manager, who maintained her positive attitude in an email that she wrote to the workers. "We have known all along that our clearest path to 270 electoral votes lies through the blue wall states," she explained to reporters. "And we feel good about what we're seeing." At an earlier point in the evening, a source close to the Harris team cautioned that the path to victory would be extremely challenging for her. According to the source, her path is so narrow, and she is not doing what she needs to do in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Jacqui Heinrich, the senior White House correspondent for Fox News, said. According to Cedric Richmond, who is the co-chair of the Harris Walls campaign, supporters of Harris were informed that Harris would not be appearing at Howard University until Wednesday, which caused a rush to leave the building. The crowd at Howard was described as not a happy crowd by CNN, and one of the talking heads used Bob Dylan's statement that "you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows," as Kamala Harris and Donald Trump compete for the presidency of the United States. This interactive map displays the outcomes of their election. When the United States of America goes to the polls, you may find out how many votes each party has earned by clicking on your state. In addition, they drew attention to the parallels with the election of 2016, when John Podesta, the campaign chair for Hillary Clinton, delivered a speech that was quite similar to this one on election night and announced that the candidate would be appearing the next day. The next day, Clinton did make a statement in which she conceded to Donald Trump. From her campaign headquarters in Washington, D.C., Harris is scheduled to make her first statement since the stunning defeat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time at local time. She has not yet conceded the election, despite the fact that she has been completely silent. It is expected that Harris would continue to serve as vice president until Trump is inaugurated in January, notwithstanding this fact. Release of Trump from office. In a ceremony that will take place at the United States Capitol on January 20, President Trump will be sworn into office. During a euphoric speech to supporters, he declared victory and referred to his campaign as the greatest political movement of all time. He also named his campaign the greatest political movement of all time. At the Palm Beach Convention Center, President Trump made a commitment to assist the United States in healing and stated that there was a great deal of love in the crowd. After weeks of polls indicated that it would be a close election, Trump's unexpected victory came as a complete and utter surprise. Earlier on Wednesday morning, the former president established what appears to be an unbeatable lead over Kamala Harris, the Democratic contender for president and the vice president of the United States Democratic Party. During his speech to hundreds of supporters on Wednesday morning, President Trump made a commitment to bring the United States back to its golden age after being out of the Oval Office for 4 years. While Trump was making a joke about the criticism that his choice for vice president, J.D. Vance, had received, he made a gesture toward his running mate and stated, "He turned out to be a good pick." He concluded by saying, "I took a little heat at the beginning, but I knew the brain was a good one." Since the 1860s, Vance is currently the youngest person to be elected to the position of vice president. Trump's wife, Melania, his daughter Ivanka, and his youngest son Barron were among those who stood on either side of him. Trump has already presented a comprehensive policy agenda for his second term, which focuses on reducing the number of people entering the country illegally, reviving the economy of the United States, and distancing the United States from its role in Ukraine. Reviving the magnitude of his promise made in 2016 to build a wall along the border with Mexico, President Trump has pledged to deport in large numbers more than 11 million people who are now living in the United States without proper documentation. He intends to implement tariffs on all imports, with a 60% tax on items coming from China. His economic plans include this measure. If he were to win back the presidency, economists have expressed concern that this strategy may be interpreted as a tax on the American people and could push inflation higher.